Welcome to the Empty Wagon Fantasy Football Podcast. It's Brad and Josh here, like always, ready to break down some Week 10 matchups. It's a good week in football this week. We had a lot of breakout players coming back.
Whew.
Shady's back. DJ's back.
Didn't even start him.
Oh, all right. We got some injuries out here. We got a lot to talk about. We've got to talk about Thursday because guess what? We were so pumped up and talking about these games, but we forgot to talk to you all about Thursday Night Football. How you doing, Josh?
I'm doing well, actually. I had a pretty good day.
I'm still disappointed in you.
I'm sorry.
So in our little home league we got, Josh put up, was it 198.2?
197.
You could have broke 200. You'd have been the first person in the league to break 200.
Yeah, it was.
So you should just quit, right?
I should probably
put it on Twitter.
197.6. So I'm sorry. I let you guys down. I actually got a message from my opponent too, and he was like, "Dude, why don't you just go for 200?" I was like, "Sorry."
If you'd have started Shady, you would have got 200, right?
No, actually, Shady was my fourth highest scoring running back.
Oh,
I started the.
Oh, that's right, Aaron Jones,
Melvin Gordon, and Christian McCaffrey. I started the right ones. Believe it or not, I started the right ones.
Yep. But
yeah, it was a good week of football, man.
Heck yeah, it was.
Some high-scoring games.
A lot of high-scoring games, some close games, some that weren't so close, but they stayed with it for fantasy. We had the Saints throwing up the X Factor for Dez.
Tyreek Hill took over a camera. He's the first person in NFL history to record his own penalty.
Oh, he recorded the flag getting thrown?
Yeah, you could see it up in the camera. It was pretty funny.
You know what? I like that.
I did too. I loved it.
Yeah, we got a lot of big scores this week. Some surprising people, I think, on top of the list. We'll get into that as we break these games down. Josh, you want to hit us up with Thursday Night Football?
All right, so we'll start off Thursday Night Football.
Wasn't much of a game.
It wasn't. It started out real hot. Like, both teams came out firing. Cam Newton threw an interception. It ended up being 14-7. They stalled on the next drive, 21-7, and things just really started to spiral out of control very quickly for the Panthers. They did put up 21 points, and all three of those touchdowns were scored by Mr. Christian McCaffrey.
If I remember correctly, the first two times the Steelers touched the ball, they scored touchdowns, right?
Yes.
Well, I guess not. No. 2 out of 3 times, because I guess it took a kickoff they didn't take to the house.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So.
Yes. They scored very quickly. Ben Roethlisberger was... Him and Christian McCaffrey were the two straight-up bosses in this game. Christian McCaffrey, 14 for 77, and then 5 for 61 through the air. 3 touchdowns overall. Great game. And then Ben Roethlisberger, at home, only 3 incompletions, 5 touchdowns, a perfect passer rating.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
At home especially.
Yeah, I remember in the offseason we were talking about the Mason Rudolph thing, kind of lighting a fire in him. I think that might be really true because we've seen good road big men and everything. We haven't seen that lackadaisical big Ben that we usually see.
Yep.
I mean, other than, I guess, the first couple weeks of the season, but other than that, he's been really, really good and pretty consistent. Yeah,
Juju had a big play. Antonio Brown cheated a little bit and caught his touchdown. I love AB. I have him on a team myself, but he straight up ripped that guy down and went on about his business. And then the guy cried like a baby back.
And then Vance McDonald got a catch that wasn't a catch, but whatever.
It counted. But yeah, for the most part, the offense for the Carolina Panthers was very underwhelming. You thought you would have saw a little bit more out of this team, show a little bit more fight. But in the fourth quarter, the backup was in, and it's pretty much all she wrote.
Yep, that was it.
Not really, yeah. Greg Olsen, 4 for 40. Good enough to be probably still a top 12 tight end because tight ends are awful. Number 1 tight end of the week was who?
No one tight end of the week?
Yeah, who was it? Eric Ebron.
Oh, yeah, it was 3 touchdowns.
3 touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown.
Yeah. And then
because we all saw that coming.
Yeah. The tight ends in Indianapolis are pretty good. We'll get into that. All right, so that was the Steelers side of the ball. You kind of talked about Christian McCaffrey a little bit. What about the pass catchers in Carolina?
Really underwhelming game, like I said. DJ Moore, 4 for 20. Curtis Samuel, 4 for 18. Funchess, 3 for 32. We kind of expected a little bit more out of them.
Especially Greg Olsen. I think we expected a lot out of Greg Olsen. The other ones are kind of a dart throw-ish.
I mean, we talked about this, though. It was like, Thursday night games are funny. On paper, this seemed like this was going to be a great game. And it ended up being one of those things that Panthers came out flat, and you just can't afford to do that against the Steelers offense.
Yeah, especially at home. They score fast and quick, and yeah.
It's just so much power. James Conner kind of even underwhelmed because he wasn't really necessary.
Well, he's in concussion protocol too.
He is, but I think it being a Thursday night game, he'll
They have
probably
that
play.
long week, but you need to watch this week practice when he starts practicing again, because that's the first part of getting out of concussion protocol is going back to practice. If he's not practicing, he won't come out of protocol. And next week, I don't know who they're going to have running back there.
So, Vance McDonald, do you feel like this was a matchup because Carolina's awful against tight ends, or do you feel like he is still worthy of...
Well, he didn't get a catch till the second half.
Yeah.
He didn't have a single catch. I think coming out of the second half, Carolina probably focused more on Juju and AB because they're like, these dudes are straight killing us. It opened up the middle of the field for Vance McDonald a lot. Big Ben will find the open guy. And I think that's most of what this was. Vance McDonald is one of these guys. He may get you 2 points, and then the next week he may get you 14 to 25.
Yes.
Like, you're not going to know with him. There's no consistency there for Vance McDonald at all.
Okay.
I mean, I started him, and it's tight end, like we said. Mo Alley Collins, like, that's another top tight end this week.
Mo Alley Cox.
Oh, sorry. There you go.
Yeah, come on. Let's get it straight.
Oh, yeah, you know
Respect
what? Maybe if he
that
had
man.
more than 4 catches on the year.
Respect that man.
All right. I'll fire it off first game.
All right.
Detroit at the Bears. Not a good game at all to watch.
No.
No, I mean, unless you're a Bears fan. If you're a Bears fan, you love this game. So I'm going to talk about the Detroit side really fast. Kerryon actually had a really nice game, mostly because of his touchdowns. He had 2 touchdowns on the day, only 51 yards on the ground. He had 6 receptions for 38 yards. Those 6 receptions, he only got 6 targets, but that's what we really want to see. Theo Riddick only had 1 more target than him. They're still leaning on Kerryon. Even when the game was out of hand, they still had Kerryon in there, giving him the ball, see what he can do, see what the future is here. Kenny Golladay got you a touchdown, had 13 targets. And big news is that Marvin Jones went out in the fourth quarter with a knee injury. Don't know what it is yet. He did exit the game. It was a blowout, so I don't know how bad it was. Maybe they were just trying to save him. But Marvin Jones did go out with a knee injury. If he's out, Kenny Golladay is the only relevant pass catcher at wide receiver there.
He got all those targets after Marvin Jones went out.
Yeah, and if you're getting him double-digit targets, that was always our problem with Kenny Golladay. He was only getting 5 targets. He was getting 5 catches for it, but with 13 targets, we saw a 6 for 78 and a touchdown. Most of this came when the game was out of hand, though. Bears weren't playing as crazy defense.
Oh, it was garbage time.
It was garbage time. And next week, they got Carolina. But I think Carolina's going to be a little more upset over what happened. They got a long week to prepare.
They looked suspect, though.
Matt Stafford, though, man. He's not looking good at all.
No, this offense as a whole is not looking good. I mean, you got to think most of their linemen are banged up, and it's showing right now. I mean, they cannot protect him.
No, he's still getting beat up back there. It wasn't as bad as the Minnesota game, but it wasn't much better.
Yeah, I mean, I feel for his safety. I'm legitimately concerned.
So, Theo Riddick, he did have double-digit points in fantasy. In PPR, do you think he's an ad? A stash on the bench?
No, that like I said, that was in garbage time. I mean, I do expect Detroit to trail a lot, especially the way they're playing right now, but I'm not interested in Theo Riddick. I think if you want to hold on to him as a flex play, possibly, but he's not going to get a stranglehold in this backfield.
No, he is going to be. You're hoping for 10 to 12 points.
Yep,
and it's all going to be PPR numbers. We talked about Marvin Jones was out. He only had 7 targets on the game. The injury, keep your eyes out on that. Other than that, though, that's really it from the Detroit side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
The defense looked horrendous. The offense looked bad. And let's go over to Chicago.
Whew.
Mitch.
Is
his highest passing numbers of the year. 355, 3 touchdowns. On 30 attempts. On a game that they were winning by a lot, he was still throwing the ball.
He looks good, dude.
I think it just took him a little bit to get this offense down. This is a pretty complicated offense. We saw last year how often this offense came from Kansas City to here. They're doing a lot of that Kansas City stuff. They don't have the playmakers on the outside that Kansas City has, but Allen Robinson, whoo-wee, he's healthy.
Game. He's clearly healthy.
And we should say Darius Slay did not play in this game, and that's where I said Allen Robinson was going to be bad because of Darius Slay. Darius Slay out. Allen Robinson opened it up for him and Anthony Miller both to have 20 and 30 points respectively. Allen Robinson, 6 catches for 133 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's a pretty good day.
He was the target leader for the team with 8. Anthony Miller was third on the team with targets. Tariq Cohen was the only guy other than Allen Robinson above him. I think Anthony Miller is the number 2 there.
I think I'd be interested to see how many people actually started Allen Robinson, though. Because I don't think that it was very high. I'd be willing to bet somewhere 40% or less.
I had to start him in a few leagues, but I wasn't too excited about it.
No, and he was a boss this week, man.
He was.
He was.
I don't have all the drops. The iPad's still in the shop. So
that's okay. But he was a boss. Straight up boss.
Tariq Cohen wasn't great, but he outperformed Jordan Howard. We thought this was going to be more of a Jordan Howard ground and pound game.
Bum.
He was so inefficient.
Friggin'
11
bum.
rushes for 21 yards.
What a bum.
So,
but they never really gave him a chance to get anything going. Like, it was all Taylor Gaylor or Tariq Cohen, and then they would let Jordan Howard come in, run the ball, Tariq Cohen. And, you know, as a running back, some of them have to develop a rhythm.
Yeah, and you did get Mitch Trubisky running a ball in.
So that's the kind of thing. If you can't develop a rhythm, it's going to be tough on you, man. And it's showing with Jordan Howard in the way that they're utilizing him.
Yeah, and I think this whole year is going to be kind of hard picking who, Jordan Howard or Tariq Cohen, is going to have the better game, because we thought this was going to be a matchup for Jordan Howard to run the ball. Detroit does have their run defense is getting better with Snacks Harrison out there.
Snacks.
But still,
I love that name so much.
Yeah, I don't know what to think of it. Trey Burton, 4 catches, 40 yards, got the 2-point conversion catch, which gave him double-digit points.
Which helped.
Which does help. Double-digit points, tight end. You're happy about that.
Yeah, 10 points. I was okay with it.
In a game, the way it went, I want to see how Allen Robinson, Anthony Miller, and Trey Burton are used going forward with them all being healthy. It could look really, really good.
It could be one of those situations like, you know, you never know which guy's going to be the guy, but they might all be relevant.
And next week is a good match. I mean, it's going to show a lot. They're at home against Minnesota.
Yeah.
We got Xavier Rhodes out there on Allen Robinson. We'll see how they can play Anthony Miller and see how Mitch does with the Minnesota pass rush. No joke now.
Yeah, I'm kind of worried too, because I have Minnesota's defense in a lot of leagues, and I wasn't expecting the Bears to be this good. So I'm debating on how I'm going to play this situation out next week, but we'll see. We'll see. I feel pretty confident in this defense that Minnesota's going to be good. And they had a bye week, so they had 2 weeks to prepare.
Yep.
I feel good about it.
All right. Next game here, Josh, what do you got?
I got Saints at the Bengals, and this was not much of a contest.
No, it was over pretty quick.
But I do want to say that on the Saints side of the ball, I got everything right. And I feel so good about that. I said start Breeze. Guess what? That was a good idea. Alvin Kamara, he didn't have the rushing numbers, but it didn't matter because he had the touchdowns.
Did you say start Mark Ingram, though? That's the one.
I did say start Mark Ingram.
Okay. I couldn't remember.
That's why I bring this. That way I'm always like, how wrong was I?
Yeah.
And I did pretty good. I'm pretty proud of myself. So Drew Brees, 3 touchdowns, 265 yards, perfect passer rating. And he ran one in too, because why not? You know, good for you, Drew Brees. Straight boss today. Michael Thomas, 8 for 70 and 2 touchdowns. Another boss day. We expected that. So the big surprise here was Mark Ingram, 13 for 104 yards. And he went ahead and caught 3 passes for 58 yards and a touchdown.
So I do have a question for Mark Ingram. Did it make your wife a little nervous playing against Mark Ingram this week? Since I traded somebody,
yes,
everybody.
Absolutely. She was very nervous.
She doesn't curse that much, but I'm pretty sure she was a little upset at me.
Actually, she kept checking it. She was doing quite a bit of college work tonight. She was playing catch up from the busy weekend that we had. And she would just keep looking back, and she's like, "Oh!" She was stressed out, just making a lot of noises like that, like, "Oh no!"
Yeah, this is the first game where we've seen both Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram have great games.
I think so, and we kind of expected this, you know, because I said that they were one of the worst run defenses in the NFL, and that held true. Traquan, I didn't expect him to be utilized, and he wasn't. I said sit Dez, but we didn't have to worry about that because
Dez, for everybody we haven't reported on, Dez is out with an Achilles, done for the year.
He's done.
So
Before he ever started. And I said start Ben Watson.
he had an almost touchdown. He did. Taysom Hill did a jump pass to him.
Yeah.
It was off his fingertips. He took out 3 cameramen.
That was a real bummer because if that would have made me perfect for the Saints.
Ooh, so close.
Perfect. I said start the DST. They got 9 points, which wasn't bad. I felt pretty good about that. Now, on the other side of the ball, oh, man. Andy Dalton. This whole offense just busted today. Bums. All of them. Bums.
Yeah, I do worry. Is this going to be the Cincinnati? Well, something I want to bring up first. Are the Saints a better team? Are they the best team in the NFC right now? I know record-wise they are, and I know they beat the Rams. Their defense. Do you think their defense is better, or was this just a bad Cincinnati team?
I think the defense is improving. We knew that they were improving. They improved throughout the year last year, especially when they got healthy. They even played pretty well when they were banged up, and it's starting to show that maybe they're piecing this thing together. The Bengals were also down without A.J. Green, and if we know anything about A.J. Green, he is such a huge focal point for this offense. And it really showed that they looked lost without him. They were able to hone in on Tyler Boyd, and prevent him. They have 3 defensive backs from Ohio State, and they're all pretty good.
Yeah. We also had John Ross had 6 targets. He was their leading point getter.
I don't care.
Okay.
Giovanni Bernard made an appearance. Joe Mixon busted your day. It was just not a good day at all. I felt bad for Joe Mixon. I thought Joe Mixon and Tyler Boyd were going to be startable assets this week, and maybe Andy Dalton was a streamer, and that just didn't prove to be true. I thought with this matchup, especially it being at home for the Bengals, but I got to say I was a little disappointed. They looked lost out there.
They did.
It was disheartening to see. But Saints, man, whew.
They're good. Very good.
They're very good. Between them and the Rams, and now you have the Chiefs, I think we'll know because the Chiefs will play the Rams next week in Mexico City. And I think we'll know at that point how these teams really stack up against each other.
Yeah.
And
I do want to see how the Chiefs look on the rest of their schedule because it's going to get a little tougher for them.
They played a little poorly today without Sammy Watkins. He is a pivotal cog in that offense. And I don't know if he's going to wait out one more week and then just come back after the bye. But we'll be paying close attention to this situation.
All right, so let's break down Atlanta at Cleveland.
Whoa!
So with this, I did say watch out for Matt Ryan. He did have a decent game, but the team just didn't win. I mean, Tevin Coleman kind of screwed you over. He didn't do anything. Ooh, that was a good catch. All right. Julio, another touchdown. 2 weeks in a row.
Whew!
If Julio starts catching touchdowns, he will be the number 1 wide receiver in fantasy.
Well, yeah, he's on pace to be like 1,800 yards or something like that.
Yeah, he was destroying every other number except his touchdowns were holding him back. So, Julio, 11 targets, 7 receptions, 107 yards, 1 touchdown. Then Austin Hooper, 10 receptions.
Yes.
10. Only 56 yards, but a touchdown. Are you willing to start Austin Hooper at tight end the rest of the year?
No, I think what this was a case of is the defensive backs for Cleveland are actually very good. They don't get enough credit for it, but Jabril Peppers out there, Denzel Ward, their corners, they're very good. And they were coached up today. They were ready for this challenge, and they met it. And it was in Cleveland, which didn't hurt. And to stymie this Atlanta offense, which we've seen has been firing lately.
Yeah.
And for them to go ahead and stymie them, slow them down, I was impressed, man. I thought it was a really impressive showing by the Cleveland Browns. And they got the win.
They did. Cleveland got the win, which we're going to talk about here in a second. But, so Austin Hooper, would you rather start Ben Watson or Austin Hooper the rest of the year?
Hooper.
Okay. So, I mean, he's still in that startable range. Maybe not
yeah.
Happy about it every day. Austin Hooper, Vance McDonald, rest of the season.
Hooper.
Okay, that was a little tougher for you. All right.
That one.
That's a little closer to.
I think that because they're in a similar range, those guys.
They're in both of them really good offense that throw the ball a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Tevin Coleman, what really hurt you here was his reception. He only had 3 receptions. I don't think that's going to be a norm. I think that's more just game script and how the game was going. Let's get over to the Cleveland side, though. Oh, my gosh. Baker Mayfield was very, very, very good.
Whew. He was the top 5 quarterback this week.
He was. 17 for 20. He started the game, I think, 13 for 13.
It's very effective.
Very, very efficient. 3 touchdowns, only 216 yards, but the defense played well. Nick Chubb, a 93-yard run, which helps your stats out a lot.
It doesn't hurt.
Yeah, for a touchdown. But he had 20 rushes for 176 yards and a touchdown. And then I think the biggest thing was the 3 receptions for 33 yards and a touchdown. On the goal line, they did target him on a screen pass. Didn't just bring Duke Johnson in there for the passing plays. I think if they start using Duke Johnson more in the run game, you'll just use Nick Chubb more in the passing game. It'll help out. Keep defenses from just stacking the box on him. Because right now, defenses see Nick Chubb in there. They load up for the run. Duke Johnson comes in there to play a little more, pass.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jarvis Landry is the biggest disappointment here. Only 5 targets. Granted, Baker Mayfield only threw the ball 20 times, so he still is the target leader. But only 2 receptions, 22 yards. 4.2 points in PPR. Not what you really want from Jarvis. Are you worried about Jarvis?
No, I'm not worried about Jarvis.
In standard, he's droppable, I think.
Yeah, in standard completely. And I think in 10-team leagues, he's definitely droppable. But 12, 14-team leagues, you can still hold on to him. But you have to sit there and consider your options. If you have a better option on the bench, I think that you need to start really looking into that because right now he's a flex play at best with upside. But
they are going to a bye next week too, and they get Cincinnati coming out of the bye.
They're on to Cincinnati.
Yep. So we'll see what happens coming off the bye with Jarvis Landry if they go to targeting him more.
If Cincinnati keeps playing like this, though, I'd be willing to start Jarvis because it looks like Cincinnati's just quitting.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on. Yeah. Well, think about the injuries Cincinnati's dealt with from the skill positions.
I mean, they've lost 2 tight ends. Running backs have been awful. I mean, they just keep getting hurt.
Yeah, Joe Mixon missed time. Giovanni missed time.
John Ross missed time. AJ Green missed time. It's been tough, man.
Yeah, but the Browns, obviously, what sucks is that they are going to bye. Nick Chubb, I think, has finally found his fit there. They are leaning on him heavily.
It was nice to see what this offense could be with competent play callers involved.
Yes.
And I was very impressed. I loved starting Baker this week. It made me feel good.
Yep. I mean, it is a bad Atlanta defense.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, but I felt good about it. All right,
moving on. What do you got there?
Patriots at Titans. And wow, I cannot believe how this game turned out. 34-10. Tennessee.
What?
Yeah, this is not what we expected from this game.
Because, you say 34-10. I expected that score just the other way around.
Yeah, the other way around. Yeah, absolutely. Well, Brian Hoyer was in the game, if that tells you anything.
Yeah.
Also,
the Patriots are moving on to the bye week. I think
the Patriots were so lost they threw Tom Brady a pass.
He caught it.
He did, and then he fell over himself.
But he caught it.
But
remember in the Super Bowl where he didn't catch it?
No, yeah, I remember. So we said that you should not start Sony Michel, which was good because the Titans are great against the run. And James White, we said start him in PPR. He only had 5 for 31, which was a huge disappointment.
Yeah, well,
I expected more.
They did score no touchdowns, right? Oh, sorry, no, they did get a touchdown, and it was the most
James Devlin.
Yeah, the most you don't help nobody touchdown ever.
Yeah, it was the fullback. Julian Edelman had a great game, 9 for 104. He did leave with an ankle injury. They said that he could have came back if he needed to, but there was really no need for him to at that point. We're hoping that with the bye, he's going to come back and he's going to be just fine.
Josh Gordon did get 12 targets, same as Julian Edelman.
So in this game, it was so frustrating to watch Tom Brady hyper-target Josh Gordon when he was clearly covered.
Yeah.
And I understand you trust his abilities as a playmaker, but you're lucky that you didn't get picked off on multiple throws that you made to Josh Gordon. I mean, you can trust a guy, I understand that, but there has to be a limit to that.
But as a Josh Gordon owner, I mean, this field was terrible. I don't know if you watched the game. This field was terrible. Receivers are falling down left and right. There was one to Josh Gordon where he did his break and he fell down, and as he got up, the ball went over his head.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that had a little bit to play with it too. Josh Gordon maybe wasn't giving his full effort because still worried maybe about the hamstring. I know he's not on the injury report for it, but he did miss a lot of time with the hamstring. Don't want to tweak it on a bad field or turn an ankle. Maybe you don't run 100%. You run about 80, which doesn't get you the separation that you should be getting.
Yeah, but only 12.1 fantasy points. We were really expecting a little bit more out of Josh Gordon. Tom Brady, 11.8. And these are all PPR numbers.
Yeah, Tom Brady did not look good.
No. You know who did look good?
I mean, he had those points, but that's because of PPR scoring with a reception.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. That's not good. Now, who did look good?
Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry. He decided that after he was no longer going to be the lead back, that he wanted to be the lead back, and he showed up. 11 for 58 with 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, but like we said, he's kind of the vulture of touchdown. He got the goal line carries. He got 2 in a row on the goal line at the 1 yard line to punch it in for his first touchdown.
The thing was, though, is that he had more rushing yards than Dion Lewis on 9 fewer attempts.
Yeah.
Honestly, this backfield is confusing.
Very confusing.
I'm not a smart guy, and I don't know how to do the analytics on who's going to be better from week to week.
There's no way to figure this out. Honestly, because I don't think they know. I think
we thought this was going to be a good game for Dion Lewis because we thought that the Titans would be down.
Yes, and they'd be passing the ball a lot.
To Dion Lewis.
They weren't.
Oh, they did pass it. They passed it to Corey Davis.
And
man,
this is why we love Corey Davis, though. 10 targets. By far the leader. Nobody else on the team had more than 3 targets.
7 for 125 and a touchdown. He had a great day today.
So I wonder, remember early in the season when Marcus Mariota got hurt, had the elbow injury, couldn't feel his fingertips?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if we put too much stock into that Mariota that wasn't healthy and the bad play of that. And now we're seeing a healthy Mariota in this offense.
I love what I saw today from this offense.
Because Mariota looked good for the second straight week. Third straight week, if you go back to Chargers game and you say that being an overseas game, he didn't look terrible. He got you 15 fantasy points, which isn't great, but it's okay. It was 2 20-point games against good defenses back-to-back weeks, and he gets Indy next week.
I think Mariota's definitely on my streaming radar again. I played him in one league, and Corey Davis might very well be a thing. I'll have to see what their next matchup is, but whenever we come out with our Thursday show, we're definitely going to look into this and tell you, whether or not we think that he's going to have a good opportunity.
Because I wonder if he's finally healthy. He says he finally doesn't have the numbness. Because when you're throwing a football, when you can't feel your fingertips, I think it's a pretty big deal.
Yeah. From what I understand, that's
and I think we were underplaying that a little bit more than we probably should have.
It's kind of how C.J. Beathard lost his job.
Yeah. So Jonnu Smith got a touchdown, though.
Yep.
Tight end.
Yep.
Do we want to start in 2 weeks, 2 touchdowns in a row?
I think he's worth the speculative ad.
I mean, it's tight ends, right?
Tight ends, you can't knock it. 3 for 45 and a touchdown. That's a pretty good day.
Exactly.
That's going to make him a top tight end this week.
Exactly.
All right, next game.
Jaguars at the Colts.
This is an interesting game.
This was a very interesting game because the Colts led pretty much most of the way, were pulling away, but Jacksonville they didn't go away. Blake Bortles wasn't great in real football, but you know what he was? Great in fantasy.
Fantasy football.
Yeah. 320 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, which I think is the biggest thing with Blake Bortles. And Leonard Fournette on the ground was not efficient at all. 2 for 24, 53 yards and a touchdown, but he had 5 receptions for 56 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, man, he really did some damage to my team today. The guy I was playing started him, and I was like, oh man, Leonard Fournette is just going to ruin my life. But I was lucky enough to come out with a win, but he had a good fantasy day.
Yes,
not
exactly.
a real life day.
No, but in PPR, that's what it is. So Dante Moncrief, is he the wide receiver or is he just the wide receiver this week? He did have a bomb touchdown that he caught, and he only had 98 yards on the day. I think it was a 90-yard touchdown he had. So other than that,
it was an 80-yarder.
80-yarder, that's what, 80-yarder.
And no, I mean, he's been the most consistently used wide receiver over the past few weeks. There was one outlier in there where he got you nothing, but it does appear that he's going to be the guy for Blake Bortles.
Yeah, he's had...
Or at least a guy.
He's only had 4 weeks under double-digit points in PPR, not counting his bye, obviously. So, I mean, if you have to start a Jacksonville wide receiver, I guess Moncrief is the guy to go to, even though D.D. Westbrook did get 10 targets. Diddy's targets are very short targets, very crossing routes, very Marquez Lee-like. And he's not just turning them off the field and making plays with them. TJ Yeldon was not completely irrelevant. He did get 6 targets, 5 for 51 through the passing game. So keep TJ Yeldon on your team. Don't drop him just yet.
Yeah, and I think I was surprised at how much work they really did give Leonard Fournette. But whenever they were trying to get back into it, he wasn't on the field. It was TJ Yeldon.
All right, let's go over to Indianapolis. 2 tight ends showed up very well in this game. Eric Ebron, who we already kind of talked about, with 3 touchdowns, 1 rushing, 2 receiving. Only had 3 targets, 69 yards.
Didn't matter.
With those touchdowns, he'll probably be the number 1 tight end of the week.
Yep.
Andy Luck looked amazing in this game going against the Jacksonville defense.
Yep.
His line is a lot better than it has been in the past. Probably the best offensive line play he's had his whole career.
And it's showing, man.
Yeah, so Andy Luck could be a starter the rest of the year. The problem is he doesn't have great matchups going down the stretch. He's got Tennessee next week. We saw what they did to Tom Brady.
Ooh.
Then Miami, which is good. But then at Jacksonville, which is going to be a little harder. Then at Houston, J.J. Watt's looking pretty good. So Andy Luck, great player, but we'll see how it goes from now on. Mo Alley Cox.
No.
He's got 3 catches on the year, 2 of them for touchdowns.
No.
Yep.
I think they threw it to him every now and then just to keep the defense honest. I don't think it's one of those situations where he's going to be a fantasy relevant player.
If you started T.Y. Hilton this week, he probably got you exactly what you expected him to get you, 10 points.
What was it? It was 3 for 77?
He had 7 targets, though, which is, they were still targeting him, even with Jalen Ramsey hanging all over him.
That's about what we expected. That's why I didn't start him. I mean, Jalen Ramsey is very good.
Marlon Mack, hope nobody started him. Had a bad day. We kind of said don't start him. I said if you have to start him, but you're not going to like it. That's exactly what it was. He was 12 for 29.
Oh,
those are not good numbers.
No, I'm well aware.
That's just over 2 yards a carry.
That's not good.
That's not good. Jordan Wilkins had a 53-yard run, but he is pretty irrelevant. Anything else you want to get from this game?
Nope, and I got another one for you. All right, Cardinals at the Chiefs. The good news is David Johnson is super fantasy relevant again. He's our boss of the week.
Oh, yeah, by far. He is the fantasy leader right now for the week.
Boss of the week. Zeke might break this right now because he's doing some amazing things. He's eating right now, guys.
Yeah.
But anyway, David Johnson, 21 for 98 and a touchdown. Then he caught 7 passes for 85 and a touchdown. He was the offense today.
9 targets. That's what we wanted to see from Zeke. This is what, or not Zeke, sorry, you got me on Zeke. David Johnson. This is what we wanted from David Johnson since week 1, is he's a lot of targets.
Yeah, and then, Ricky Seals-Jones, 5 for 51. That's not a bad week for a tight end. Larry Fitzgerald, 6 for 50. I was kind of expecting a little bit more in this game, but
when David Johnson's doing all the work, it's kind of hard. And then Josh Rosen's not looking great because he's getting just destroyed back there when he goes to throw.
And Josh Rosen still didn't have a great game. They picked him off twice. Yeah, not a lot to gain from that. On the Kansas City side of the ball, they kind of struggled a little bit for Kansas City. I'm not going to sit there and say that they're an awful offense and they struggled and they barely won, but for Kansas City, for Patrick Mahomes to only throw 249 yards and 2 touchdowns, there seemed to be a bit of a disconnect today. Kareem Hunt wasn't really involved like he should have been. 71 yards rushing, 2 catches for 25 yards. Hopefully no one started Chris Conley to replace Sammy Watkins because that was a bust.
No, nothing. I mean, Tyreek Hill's good.
Tyreek Hill had a great game. Travis Kelce had an average game, but it was definitely below his standards.
Do you think this is the Arizona defense, their defense is much improved since the beginning of the season?
I think,
and with Arizona's offense is doing a little bit and keeping the defense off the field the whole time, Arizona's defense hasn't been terrible this year.
So watching the way that the Chiefs came out, this was a trap game. And I say that because they came out, the defense especially, just like, whatever.
Yeah.
They came out flat. They were kind of just walking around. They weren't really trying to do anything. And Arizona went right down the field and scored on them right in the beginning. So I expect the Chiefs to be better, to be prepared for LA next week. And I hope that they perform a little bit better than what they did tonight or today, because it wasn't really a good showing. Spencer Ware got a touchdown, though, so there's that.
Yeah, does that make you nervous? The little vulture touchdown from Spencer Ware as a Kareem Hunt only.
Kareem Hunt.
Because Kareem Hunt had a bad day, but if you give him that rushing touchdown, his day's 17 points, and we're feeling a lot happier about it.
No, I feel still just as confident.
Did you see Kareem Hunt get laid out when he tried to hurdle the guy?
No, I did not see that.
Oh, the safety was waiting on him. He said, "Oh, you've been hurdling people? Let's do this." And like he acted like he was going to go low, and Kareem Hunt went up, and he just grabbed him and slammed him.
That's awesome.
It was awesome.
That is awesome.
All right, let's move on to the surprise game of the week. Buffalo Bills at the Jets, right? We said start the Jets defense. You were wrong.
Yeah,
you were wrong. Because why? I'm going to talk about the Jets first because there ain't much to talk about here. It is literally nothing. Crowell had you an game because it was 7 for 19 with a touchdown. And that was it. There's nothing else to talk about here. It was a terrible game. When Robbie Anderson's not out here, they have no pass catchers for the Jets that are good. They can get separation. Quincy Enunwa earlier in the year was a volume play, and he's not even that anymore.
No.
Without Robbie Anderson on this field to keep the defense honest, and Buffalo's defense is really good. I think we've kind of like we talked about Arizona when the offense just wasn't doing anything. They got beat up and they couldn't do anything the whole year.
It's so funny to me how Buffalo is clearly, they want to lose games, and then they still win them on accident.
Well, the front office wants to lose games.
Yeah.
I think the coach and the players are like, no.
I think this was Todd Bowles' last game as an NFL head coach.
We'll see. We'll see if they fire him midseason.
I think that this is it. This was the last straw.
Because you got to remember, didn't the Jets let Rex Ryan finish out his last year too? So I don't know how the Jets are about firing coaches midseason. I think they usually let the coaches finish out the year and fire in the off and try to find someone in the offseason. Because what do you gain from firing a coach midseason? You really don't get much except maybe an interim guy that you don't want to hire does well, and now you're kind of forced by the fans to hire a guy that
brought Cleveland a win.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, but they don't want Greg Williams as a coach in Cleveland.
No, but it brought Cleveland a win. They clearly look better.
Yeah, but the front office, we just said, doesn't want to. Oh, we were talking about Buffalo, but I don't think the Jets really want to win either, right now. I think they're still, they know they're a work in progress.
Yeah. So they keep rolling.
Right, so Buffalo, Shady McCoy.
Whew.
He's got his bye coming up. Then he's got Jacksonville, which we don't like that matchup, then Miami. And then the Jets again, and then Detroit, and then New England. Shady down the stretch doesn't look bad.
Nope.
He looks really good. He was a beast on the ground. He was just straight up beasting on the ground. 26 carries for 113 yards. And then Zay Jones. You think he thought he was jumping through windows and stuff during this game?
Oh, my gosh.
I can say it's because he had a good game. I wouldn't talk bad about it if he had bad games, but he finally had a good game. 11 targets. Matt Barkley said, "Hey, you, I'm going your way. I don't know your name because I just got here." Kelvin Benjamin dropped a touchdown pass.
Hey, you.
So Matt Barkley should have had another touchdown pass, which would give him 3 on the day. Matt Barkley, is he the fix to this team?
No, because they're going to bring in Josh Allen back as soon as he.
Well, Josh Allen didn't look bad for him. Josh Allen actually looked good for the team. They looked good when they had Josh Allen playing as well.
Yeah.
So Matt Barkley's better than Nathan Peterman.
Well, yeah.
And Derek Anderson they put out there.
They
finally didn't throw a pick 6. They broke the streak.
Dude, I could go out there and do what Nathan Peterman does.
Yeah, what I think this really does is my whole Terrell Pryor at quarterback's not happening now, for sure.
No.
There's no way it's going to. Matt Barkley will start, or if Josh Allen's ready for after the bye, he'll go. But Zay Jones, are we adding Zay Jones this week?
Yes.
11 targets.
If
he's on a bye, so I don't think you have to really, you don't have to spend a lot of fab. You probably don't have to use a high waiver priority on him because a lot of people won't be.
I don't like it because I think that Josh Allen will be back.
And you think Josh Allen just goes back to running all over the place?
Yeah, I don't think.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he's the wide receiver to have there.
Yep.
He is the best wide receiver there.
Oh, bar
and
none.
The Buffalo defense, holy guacamole. I mean, they gave up some garbage time touchdown and stuff that kind of hurt their day, but 3 sacks, 2 interceptions. If the offense can play okay, the Buffalo defense is really good.
They're very good.
All right. That's really it for this game because there's not much fantasy relevant people on this team. Shady, I think you can start in the rest of the year, though.
All right. Let's move over to the Redskins and Buccaneers. What a snooze fest.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
We expected from the Redskins. I don't think we expected Fitzmagic.
And he threw for over 400 yards.
Yeah, well, Jacquizz Rodgers' fumble really screwed up a drive. His turnover screwed up drives.
So 16-3, Washington Redskins, who are still winning games somehow. Adrian Peterson kind of came back down to earth. We kind of expected that, especially with this offensive line being so horrendous. Alex Smith didn't do much and didn't need to do much. Harris got 5 for 52. That's the guy that you were interested in, I know.
Yeah.
But he didn't do a lot.
Well, we thought Crowder was going to play too. Crowder didn't play this game, so I think that kind of bumped him up.
Josh Doxson caught his celebratory mandatory touchdown, 4 for 46. That's pretty much it to talk about on that side. I'm still not interested in any of these guys. They're winning games.
But there's nothing fantasy. Like, there's nothing you want to start on your team. I
No.
get exactly what you're saying. Because if you start Josh Doxson, he can get you 15 points or he can get you 0.
Yeah, and I'm expecting 0. I don't expect.
He's had multiple 0 games this year, and a 2, and 2 7s, and a 5.
Yeah,
in PPR.
Now, if you decided to go get crazy and start Jacquizz Rodgers,
Whoa.
you had a pretty good game.
You must go buy a lotto ticket if you start Jacquizz Rodgers this week.
8 for 102 yards. That fumble hurt, like you said. Chris Godwin's 100 yards, 7 catches. Djax had a pretty decent game, but that was it. Mike Evans, 3 for 50. Kind of a bum.
Yeah.
Major bum this week.
Yeah, only 6 targets. He was behind Deshaun Jackson, Chris Godwin.
And
O.J. Howard only had 2 targets on the game.
Yeah, and for you to throw for 400 yards, and you mean to tell me Mike Evans and O.J. Howard had 4 catches for 66 yards.
Yeah.
That's, between the two of them, that's disappointing, man.
It's crazy.
Ryan Fitzpatrick didn't really do you a lot of favors. In 4-point passing leagues, he only got you 13.7 points. You really expected more this week.
Mm-hmm.
So I was disappointed with his performance from Tampa Bay, but what are you going to do? The Redskins have a decent defense, man.
They do. And he did he threw the ball 41 times, only completed 29 of them.
Yeah.
400 yards, though. I mean, he got you no touchdowns, but he still got you 13 points because of the picks and turnovers. But
he's careless with the ball.
He gets careless with the ball. We knew that. But that's what we liked about him, too, the fact that he was careless with the ball. He'd let it fly.
Yep.
If somebody fell in the end zone a couple times, we'd have been good. Moving on, Chargers at Raiders. Let's talk about Oakland. Let's talk about the snooze fest their offense is. They did do a trick punt. Went for it on 4th down.
They were aggressive on that first drive.
They were. Doug Martin was the leader there. 15 rushes for 61 yards.
And they went away from it.
Well, they got down.
They weren't even down by that much. They just went away from it, which was disappointing.
Drives with it. Derek Carr did not look good. He doesn't go. Derek Carr's afraid to go down the field. I don't know if it's because he's gun shy from getting sacked so many times that he's afraid he's going to get killed. Which I understand, because if I stood back there and 300-pound dudes kept landing on me every time I stood back there for more than 2 seconds, I'd be checked down and Sally too.
Well, David told him a lot of stories about how awful it is to get destroyed regularly, and now he's living vicariously through David.
Yeah. Jared Cook, under 10 points at a tight end.
Bum.
They didn't even use him really till the second half either. Jalen Richard,
Bum.
PPR-ish guy. Doug Martin's really the only guy in Oakland, and I don't want to start him.
No.
I don't.
No,
They're at Arizona next week, who hasn't had a great run defense, but they just shut down Kareem Hunt.
I think if you're trying to tank, Doug Martin would be a great.
Oh, so bad. Now let's go over to the Chargers side of the ball. Melvin Gordon.
Woo!
Do we need to say anything? I mean, he took a screen pass to the house, and he's good. Keenan Allen got a touchdown
yards.
finally, so that's very helpful. He only had 57 yards. 6 catches, though, but that touchdown really helps with the day. Phillip Rivers just efficient. Because I'm going to put Phillip Rivers. Like, he's not going to get gaudy numbers, but 15 points, he's never going to kill you in fantasy, I don't think.
He's doing what he needs to do. He's careful with the ball. He did make a couple of poor throws today, but...
And he also had a couple that got dropped. Tyrell Williams had one when nobody was
20
yards around
gosh.
him. Threw it right in his hands and just like, I'm not...
Look, you catch the deep ones.
Yeah,
Oh
so
my gosh.
Rivers started off the game. I think he missed on his first 6 or 10. Was it 6 passes? And then went on a drive. So he started off really bad and poorly, and then all of a sudden they turned it around. But offensively, the Chargers are what they are. You're starting Melvin Gordon, you're starting Keenan Allen. I don't like starting Tyrell Williams or Mike Williams because Mike Williams did nothing for you this week. Mike Williams didn't even have a target, according to what I'm looking at.
Keenan Allen had a good game, though.
He did, with that touchdown. That's what I'm saying. They finally targeted him in the end zone, which is amazing. Chargers defense, I don't think they were as good as we thought they'd be this week.
They are who we thought they were.
I thought they'd be a little better.
I did too.
I wonder if they got caught up in the hype a little bit. But yeah, everybody for the Chargers, I'm happy with. And they won, which is what matters the most.
That is true.
And they got Denver next week.
Moving on to Denver. All right, well, before we get into our next game, I'd like to go ahead and give a shout out to all of our veterans.
Yeah.
Today is Veterans Day, and we salute you. We are very proud, and we thank you for serving and protecting our country. I know that I am married to a veteran, and you are married to a veteran as well.
Yep.
We appreciate you guys. Thank you for doing what you do, and we hope that any way that we can help, get some more information out there, anything that we can do to help you guys. We love you, and we thank you so much for doing what you do each and every day for us. All right. Now that we've gotten that, we'll talk about the Dolphins at the Packers. Wow. I think the Brock Osweiler experiment is over.
It's Adam Gase, so who knows?
It should be over. And Frank Gore
had himself a day.
90 yards, and then he went ahead and had 2 catches for 12 yards.
Yeah.
No touchdowns because the Dolphins don't score touchdowns.
Yeah, I don't know how much you watched this game. Devontae Parker had a surefire touchdown. His defender had fell down, and Brock Osweiler threw it 5 feet over his head, 12 yards in front of him.
Yep.
It was an easy touchdown.
Tannehill could have made it, maybe.
I'm wondering if I don't think me and you could have made it, but you give us a week to practice. We might have been able to make that pass.
I probably could.
As long as you don't have to step into it.
As long as I don't have to step into it. Yeah, Brock Osweiler, awful game. Kenyon Drake, he had an awful game, but the story here was that the Miami Dolphins were running out of pass catchers.
Yeah, Devontae Parker went out of the game.
He went out, came back in. Kenny Stills was banged up.
Jakeem Grant got carted off.
Yeah, man. It's tough, man. Kalen Ballage even got in there. So, that's not good. Now, on the other side of the ball, Aaron Rodgers had an okay day. 2 touchdowns.
There's another AA run I think we need to talk about here.
Oh, yeah, that guy. Oh, sorry. 15 for 145 yards.
Yeah.
2 touchdowns.
3 receptions.
27 yards. All of those were on the first drive, by the way. 3 receptions for 27 yards. He even dropped one, but they didn't shy away from him. He had 54 yards just on the opening drive. He broke off a 67-yard run the next time he was on the field. Aaron Jones is the man.
Do you think Mike McCarthy cannot get in the ball anymore? Do you think there's any way that he can go back to Green Bay and next week when they play, who they play, or then they go to Seattle next week, they can't just feed him the ball again?
I think Aaron Jones has taken a strong hold on this job.
He should. And he should have been from day one. I think everybody's been saying that. I don't know if it was a suspension. They were trying to prove a point, what it was.
It was one of those situations where he's just clearly better than Jamal Williams.
Yeah.
It's just painfully obvious. If they don't see it, then Mike McCarthy should be fired. Valdez Scantling, 6 for 44. Okay. But Devontae Adams was the guy that had the 2 touchdowns. So
only 57 yards, though.
Without those 2 touchdowns, his day would have been kind of a bust.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers' day would have been a bust, too. He didn't even throw for 200 yards. I mean, when your running back's doing what he does, it's hard for your pass catchers to do that much. But still. All right, what's going on over here?
Oh.
Yeah, so with Green Bay, Aaron Jones auto start the rest of the year.
He is for me.
Even against Seattle, who has a run defense hasn't been terrible.
Oh, well, Gurley did plenty against them today.
You can't Gurley's not the measuring stick you use. Gurley's more of the...
I will look at the numbers just to make sure I'm giving valuable, honest information, and I'm not just being biased because I'm an Aaron Jones truther.
Well, I have him in a few leagues too. I'm thinking about benching him next week for Philip Lindsay, who plays the Chargers.
You know, they got gashed a little bit by Doug Martin today. Like I said, I'm going to look at the numbers. I'm going to see who they played, and I'll give you, I'll look at injury reports and things like that, and I'll give you an honest estimation. I don't want to get too crazy, but I love what Aaron Jones brings to this offense.
Yeah, and he's not going to face a lot of 8-man in the box because Aaron Rodgers is back there. It's pretty much a similar situation to Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram have.
It doesn't hurt.
When you have a great quarterback who can just sling the rock around.
It definitely doesn't hurt.
All right, let's move over to the... Do you want to talk about the other side of the ball? Oh, you already did, right? Okay.
Yeah, we already
Yeah, that's right. So Rams at Seahawks. Kind of hinted at Seahawks. First thing I want to talk about the Rams. Cooper Kupp, non-contact injury. I don't want to jump to conclusions, but it does not look good. It's the same knee he already hurt.
ACL.
So it's either ACL or it's that MCL finally gave out completely. Honestly, I think for the betterment of him, I don't know the injury yet. We'll see. But he's probably done for the year. Brandon Cooks, 12 targets, 10 receptions, 100 yards, rush for a touchdown.
He had a pretty good day.
Yeah, he did. So Brandon Cooks is good. We always know he's fast. And I think without Cooper Kupp there, as bad as the Cooper Kupp injury is, I think it helps clear up the pass catching roles there. Because with 3 pass catchers, we were always worried about who was going to get the touchdowns. Jared Goff threw 2 touchdowns. Do you know who caught said 2 touchdowns?
Gerald Everett.
Yep. And?
Tyler Higbee.
Yep. Both the tight ends.
Which we all saw coming.
Yep.
Okay.
Robert Woods still had a good game because of 4 for 84, 3 rushes, 71 yards. I mean, Todd Gurley does Todd Gurley. He ran 16 carries, 120 yards. He's good, people.
He's pretty good.
And 3 receptions, 40 yards. But this game was a lot closer. I'm really worried about this Rams defense going forward. Rashad Penny rushed for a touchdown, and they got Kansas City next week.
Seattle gashed them all day on the ground.
Yeah, this is Kansas City, where the air's a little thinner too. So I wonder how this is going to affect both these offenses. They're at higher elevation, I believe, than Denver in Mexico City. So
yeah, actually, the Rams are going to go practice at the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs
to get used to the elevation, because I think it's smart because the elevation is going to play a big role in this Mexico City game.
So the Patriots did this last year, and they had a pretty good showing. But I do think it's smart. I don't know, man. I'm excited about the game.
Oh, I'm super excited about the game. I do think that both defenses are pretty suspect in this game.
Yeah, would you expect more from the Rams defense with all the talent that they have?
They have had a lot of injuries. Let's not forget about that. And Aaron Donald's really good. I don't know if you saw the incomplete pass that he thought was a fumble, and he took it, and then he almost got to fight the sidelines.
Dude.
Almost killed a guy.
He's a straight-up athlete. He's not just a defensive lineman. I want to be clear about that. The dude is an athlete.
All right. We'll go with Seattle side of the ball before we forget about it. Russell Wilson throws for 3 touchdowns, but only 17 completions and only 176 yards. I have no idea what to think about this. And then the running back game, right? We knew Chris Carson was out. Mike Davis is going to get the lead role, right? Nope.
Right.
You know who got the most rushes?
Rashad Penny.
And he did get 108 yards and a touchdown. Mike Davis did get the passing down work, got 4 receptions for 22 yards, and got the touchdown there, which kind of put him over top of Penny.
We all saw this coming.
No idea what they're going to do. They've had a 100-yard rusher in almost every game, though, last 6 weeks.
What do you do? You can't.
Do we need a Seahawk will if Chris Carson's out?
You can't win, dude.
Yeah. But Tyler Lockett gets another touchdown, saves his day. Doug Baldwin, not good. 5 for 39.
Yep, busted.
Yep. And then Nick Vannett got a touchdown.
Of course he did. Of course he did.
And Ed Dixon tried to roll into the end zone. I don't know if you saw that one where he caught the ball with stumbling and bubbling down the field.
Stumbling, bumbling, huck it, chuck it football.
Yeah. But yeah, that's really it. Russell Wilson, I mean, you can start him. He ran the ball 9 times for 92 yards, which is what we've been waiting on all year for Russell Wilson. That's always a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. But they want to run the ball. in Seattle.
They want to run the ball. We're going to break down this
It's Thursday night game.
Thursday night?
Oh, excuse me. Wow, Sunday night game.
Sunday night game.
I think there's only one thing to say. Mr. Ezekiel Elliott is a straight-up man.
You know how much better his fantasy day would be if that hurdle play, if he wouldn't have fell down?
Oh, dude. Well, his fantasy day was just fine. 19 carries, 151 yards.
I mean, you feed Zeke, he does good things.
It's weird, right? And then if you actually throw the ball on first down, which is what they did tonight, it keeps the defense honest.
Well, when you're completing said passes and Dak's not taking bad sacks.
What?
Yeah.
Bananas.
Zeke also had 6 catches, 36 yards, and a touchdown, which helps out a lot.
Them boys won the game. 27-20. Tied up with the Eagles now 4-5 for both of them. The Eagles are looking bad. The offense is struggling a little bit. They got hotter in the second half. The defense isn't what we thought it was going to be. I'm really curious to see what's going to happen to this. But I will say, we'll finish up the Cowboys side of the ball. Amari Cooper, 6 for 75.
Yeah, and he was targeted a ton, correct?
Yeah, he's going to be a thing. He's going to be a thing over here in Dallas, much more so than
he is Dak's number one read, and usually he sticks with his number one read, 10 targets.
And then he's going to be much better in Dallas than he ever was in Oakland. Well, at least than he was the past year and a half.
We'll get more consistency. How about that?
Yes.
He may not have that huge games that he would have in Oakland, but he'll have more consistent. You feel okay starting him, and you're not.
And it's amazing because he looks like an incredible route runner, like a straight-up playmaker.
He is.
How did this not work in Oakland? I don't understand.
You can't blame Gruden because it's been multiple. It's been.
Well, it was the coach last year,
Del Rio,
Jack Del Rio, and then Gruden this year.
Yeah, so I don't know.
I don't know, man. The Beasles had an all right game, but this was mostly about Cooper. It was all about Zeke. And Dak was all right because he ran one in as well.
When Zeke runs the ball well, the Cowboys do well. It's easy as that. I mean,
it's a fact.
It's a fact.
Google it.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz, 360 yards, 2 touchdowns.
And it all went to one guy.
And then he had a pretty critical interception. That hurt him because it put the Cowboys right over there in the red zone. Now, Zach Ertz. Wow.
You know he's the high scorer in fantasy right now for the week?
So he's definitely a boss. We have 40 points?
40.5 points in PPR.
Gosh.
14 receptions, 145 yards, 2 touchdowns, 16 targets.
That's really good.
From the tight end. I mean,
when I think about good things, I think that's really good. So that whole Golden Tate thing didn't really affect him?
No, not at all. So here's the thing, though. Golden Tate did not have a good game at all. 2 for 19, only 4 targets.
Yeah.
So what I said was I don't see both of them being great.
Well,
and I didn't think they'd go away from Zach Ertz. Because I think that's what I said to begin with was I didn't want to start Tate, obviously.
Alshon was affected, especially because they were trying to make plays. He only went 4 for 48. Nelson Aguilar, 5 for 83. Josh Adams was the lead back, 47 yards.
Only 7 carries. They didn't run the ball a lot.
No.
They only ran the ball, public math, 14 times. Oh, if you don't count Carson Wentz's 2.
Public school math.
Yeah.
Public math.
But, I mean, Josh Adams is going to get nothing in the passing game.
It's true.
So, take that with what you want. I was kind of disappointed in this Philadelphia offense. This game was very boring in the first half.
It was awful in the first half.
Got that sneak in to get a touchdown, and it was 7-3 going in.
Yep.
Which was not a game. Wasn't exciting a game. I expected a lot more Philadelphia's offense. Carson Wentz going forward. I mean, obviously, he's a almost must start every week.
Yeah, I tried to trade for him, and I almost traded Kenny Golladay for him, and I'm really glad I didn't. Because I have a week-to-week starter. I was almost unsure of my decision with Baker, and I opted not to go with the trade because I believe in Baker, and I was right. Thank goodness.
Thank goodness.
Thank goodness.
All right, that's it for week 10. Well, we got Monday night tomorrow. We'll cover that on Tuesday. You got any expectations for Monday night?
I expect Odell to have a great game. I do not expect Nick Mullins to do what he did the week before.
I don't think anybody expects that, but he might.
No, he will not. And yeah, I'm excited to see what happens, man. I'm fired up about it.
Fired up.
It looks like you won your game, which was a must-win.
Thank gosh.
It was
all my games are must-win.
Yeah, it is.
But let's
we lost in our podcast league.
Yeah, we got destroyed. Even with Zachary's 40 points.
Yeah, that really helped. Made it look better. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning into another episode of the Empty Wagon Fantasy Podcast. We're hoping to have Pat back at some time. We don't really know where he's at. It's like a Where's Waldo situation. So if you see him...
Where in the world is Patrick?
If you see him, let him know that you miss him on the Empty Wagon Fantasy Podcast and that you want him back in studio. He's still a part of the show, but we're not really sure of his whereabouts. We miss you, buddy. He's on a milk carton. Hit us up on Twitter, EmptyWagonFF, at Tack Jones, at HatTrickPack37, and at FF Josh Hughes. We're here to answer all your fantasy questions. Tuesday's going to be a great show, and Brad lost the bet, so he's going to get another pie 2 weeks in a row.
If Gukowski would just hit 252 yarders. Whatever. Later.
Later.